The door is still open for the Greek side to come with new proposals or to accept what is on the table.
I'm confident that we will reach a compromise that will help Eurozone and Greece to overcome the crisis.
European finance ministers and Greece's prime minister deadlocked right now over what to do with the ongoing debt crisis. Some critics, though, are not quite as confident as that European minister and the Greek prime minister, Alexis Tsipras. Let's take a listen.
I mean, I don't think I've ever heard leaders sort of preparing themselves, girding themselves for no deal. The Dutch prime minister was saying we may need to come back not to negotiate a deal, but to prepare for the next steps after there's no deal. So there's active discussion now about Plan B.
Now, does that mean Greece is about to exit from the Eurozone? Please welcome into our roundtable Washington, D.C. correspondent for Greek Daily Katerina Sokou. Also joining us is Newsmax's chief Washington correspondent, John Gizzi. Thank you both for being with us today. All right, Katerina, let's start with you. There was some, again, this has been a back and forth issue, optimism at first, and then a real reluctance from Greece to make any significant changes. Are we looking at the beginning of the end of Greece's involvement with the Eurozone?
I wouldn't go that far so soon. I would argue that the two sides are definitely playing hardball right now. This is arguably the last chance during the weekend if Greece to reach a deal, if Greece is to avoid a default on the IMF on Tuesday. So there is a Eurogroup tomorrow meeting to find a solution, and then on Monday, if there is a solution, then the Greek government will have to pass it through the parliament, and then on Tuesday, hopefully, make the payment to the IMF via the European Union. Right. So this is where we stand. And if the default is avoided on Tuesday, if the IMF payment is made, then the situation will be much better. If the IMF payment is not made, then I think everyone will start thinking of what's the next step, the plan B, like your reporting said.
John, do you agree with Katerina that, excuse me here, that this is just hardball at this point?
Yes, and I would add to her report the words of the late Secretary of State Dean Rusk during the Cuban Missile Crisis. They're eyeball to eyeball, and someone's got to blink. That's paraphrasing his phrase in 1962. Someone will blink on this because it is at a point now where in the Greek economy, 53 small businesses per day have gone under since the beginning of the year, 219 jobs, and a Greek exit, Grexit as is known, would hurt so much throughout Europe because of the interconnected economy. One thing I will also add is it wouldn't surprise this White House correspondent if, between his statement on the Supreme Court ruling and his trip to South Carolina, that President Obama did not place a call to Angela Merkel, the German Chancellor, and to the International Monetary Fund's Managing Director, Christine Lagarde, urging them to come over and close a deal over the weekend.
Well, you mentioned Merkel. In the past, we've seen Germany's chancellor step in, but sources say she is insisting on, excuse me, reaching a deal in this compromise. Where is she right now in this whole situation, Katerina?
Well, I think that Chancellor Merkel is the one who's trying to keep Greece in the Eurozone right now. And obviously the Greek government and the Greek people want that, and that's why they're still on the table. Mind you, this deal that Greece is being offered was something that this current government didn't want, is ideologically against. It's against the austerity, it's against the reforms that are included in this proposal. And the only reason why it is on the table is because it doesn't have the mandate to take Greece out of the Eurozone. So I would think that a solution will be found that will keep Greece in the Eurozone, but this will come at a cost to all sides. Obviously, the Greek government will have to accept things that is currently or was not willing to accept a few months ago, as late as last week, actually. But at the same time, the German Chancellor will have to offer some debt relief in one form or another in order for the Greek government to be able to present this agreement back home as any kind of, as a fig leaf of some positive result here, some negotiating victory for them too. So I think this is where we stand, and I understand that the latest proposal from the European side also has an element of a debt restructuring down the road that the Greek government desperately needs to pass this back home.
All right, well, all eyes are on Tuesday is the deadline. Thank you very much for being with us, Katerina. Always good to get your take, obviously, with your intimate knowledge of the subject. And John Gizzi, great to hear from you as well. We're going to ask you to stick around, John, and get your take on the Republican response to the Supreme Court case today, a Supreme Court upholding gay marriage now, making it legal in all 50 states. More to come here on Newsmax Now. Please do stick around. We're also going to talk about some new campaign video ads, some web ads, making their way around the net after this.